Am I the jerk for telling my stepdad and mom that they shouldn't be surprised at what my little brother said to them when they pulled a prank on him? I'm a 20-year-old female, and I'm the oldest sister to my little biological brother, who's a 17-year-old male. He finished high school last year. My little brother and I are really close. He says I'm the best friend he has, and he loves me more than anyone. Of course, this is not true. He has many friends of his own. My brother has been asking our stepdad/mother if he could get a new car for his grad party since last year, and he said he'd pay 50 to 75% of it with his own hard-earned money while they pay the rest. They said no. I have a car, but I've been working for one. They helped me pay off for it. So my brother's arguments with our parents got heated after a while. One time I told my brother I'd help him pay off expenses for a good car once I got my own. He hugged me and said I didn't need to worry and that he owed me way more than I owed him. But he continued to press our parents all of last year until eventually they gave in and said yes like they did for me. Note that our stepdad and my brother have a negative relationship for the most part. Our biological mother and our stepdad got together soon after our biological dad and mom divorced when we were little. My brother thinks that stepdad and mother were seeing each other before our real parents divorced, and to be honest, I think that might be true. Not certain though. Anyway, my stepdad, mother, and brother compromised and said they'd get him the car in 2021 so that people don't gawk at him at the graduation party. June this year, my brother and stepdad/mother are still on about the car. Now, the arguments are getting loud and lasting hours until evening. My stepdad was getting into screaming matches with my brother over it, but they reached a final compromise of the car being bought last week. The fated morning comes and my brother wakes up to our stepdad and mom guiding him outside to a car, but not his, our mother's. Stepdad used his and my brother's money on a dumb prank, bought a completely different model of car, and said it was for our mother. Our mom and stepdad just laughed and kissed each other. My brother didn't lose it. He didn't even look angry. He just looked dead in our stepdad's eyes and said, and I'm not joking, verbatim, "You might think I'm effing stupid. You might think whatever, but I'm better than you, bro. You know what? You know that. I know that, and our mom is an idiot for staying with a jerk like you, but I'll make you wish you never met us, I promise you. You might be laughing now, but you'll be crying later." He then walked off, not even looking back at them as they stared horrified. They asked me what that was about, and I, feeling terrible for my brother, said that they had it coming and not to be surprised. So now they grounded both of us. I've had to explain the situation to my friends and I can't see them anymore, but I feel so bad for my baby brother, and they back me up on this and asked me to comfort him as much as possible. But our parents are so mad, and they can't see that my brother has had his heart crushed. Am I the jerk for telling my stepdad and mom that they shouldn't be surprised at what my little brother said to them when they pulled a prank on him? So is it really a prank if it's real, if it's actually what's happened? Because this part that says the stepdad used his and my brother's money on a dumb prank and bought a completely different model of car and said it was for our mother. The way that this is written is a little bit confusing because you can kind of read some things here in a few different ways. But the part that seems clear is that the stepdad took their collective money and then bought a completely different model of car for their mother. But as a prank though, this is really weird. Is the implication here supposed to be that he gets the other car, or that he gets no cars at all and he just spent the money of the son? I mean, if that's the case, then this is really crazy because the brother has been saving the money for this entire time, and then the stepdad just spends it on something totally random and for the wrong person. It seems like not really a thing to make a prank about, especially if it's not your money and it's not reversible. I mean, if it was, they would have said that. So it's not really a prank. It's just that the dad just did this thing. Yeah, so in a nutshell, the stepdad takes the money from the kid, spends it on a car for the mom, and then laughs about it. The brother makes this threat and they're confused by it. The parents are confused by it. Weird situation. What would you do if this was you and somebody spent all your money on a car for someone else after saving up for that entire time? And what do you think? Jerk or not a jerk on this one? Am I the jerk for telling my childhood bully, who is a male to female transgender, that she will always be the boy who bullied me? When I was in middle school, I was viciously bullied by this boy, Z. He spread rumors about me, called me stupid and useless every chance he got, and made school a living hell. It's been over 12 years, and Z has since come out as a male to female transgender. She messaged me over social media asking me to meet up. We went out for coffee where she apologized for bullying me. It was along the lines of, "I'm sorry for being mean. I was young and I was struggling with my gender identity." I thanked her for her apology. When she asked if she was forgiven, I tried to avoid answering. I am still not over what she did to me. What Z did to me impacted me greatly, as I was an impressionable young girl. I struggled with self-esteem for years afterwards. Z started getting defensive. She told me that I was being petty and that I should forgive her. I told her, "Why? You will always be the boy that bullied me. An apology won't change that." She got really offended when I said the word boy and said that I was misgendering her. She called me petty, transphobic, vindictive, and ignorant, and then stormed out. Am I the jerk? There's something that's always funny when somebody apologizes and then demands you to accept their apology. I mean, that's not really what an apology is. An apology is you're just apologizing, and whether or not they accept it is something that they have to deal with and figure out on their own. And maybe the OP here will accept this apology eventually, but it's a lot less likely now that the OP is feeling pressure to do so because Z is getting defensive and kind of rushing for the apology to be accepted instead of actually listening to the impact that this bullying caused the OP. I think that what set this off is that the OP said, "You will always be the boy that bullied me," which I don't think was meant to misgender Z. I think it was more meant to be like how the OP sees the whole situation in her mind, but Z definitely didn't see it that way. Z probably saw it as some sort of attack and saying that Z will always just be a boy. So there's definitely a disconnect there in terms of what they were trying to say, but it sounds like the OP is mostly frustrated because Z is not really listening to the OP in the way that the OP needs her to. What would you do in this situation if it was your bully? And jerk or not a jerk? I am a 24-year-old female vegan and have been for a good 10 years. I have not eaten meat since I was roughly 3 to 4 years old when I found out where meat comes from. Spoiler alert, there were a lot of tears. This is no secret and everyone in my life knows and respects this, or so I thought. 4 nights ago, I was at a party and I will admit I got white girl wasted. My friends thought it would be funny to feed me chicken nuggets as a prank. I checked with them before chowing down, "Are these vegan?" To which my friends replied, "Yeah, they're sun-fed," which is a type of vegan chickenless chicken. They tasted off to me, but I figured it was just because I was sloshed. I was wrong. I found out the next day when my sister sent me a message telling me to check my friend's Snapchat story. The story was them showing the nugget packaging and then showing them giving them to me, including the conversation where I asked if it was vegan. Then later, them mocking me and pretending to be me when I found out I ate meat. Things like fake crying and yelling, "The chickens!" I took a screen recording of the video and I took it to the police on the grounds of food tampering, and now 3 of my ex-friends are facing charges. They all think I'm overreacting to a harmless prank. So, am I the jerk? In my view, they took advantage of my sloshed state, tampered with my food, and publicly humiliated me. In their view, it was just a prank. I'm actually really surprised that the police would do something about this, like charging them. Messing with someone's food is always something that people take really seriously, especially if they're vegan or they have an allergy or they have something where they have to build that into their lifestyle. I've heard that people that are vegan for a really long time that accidentally have meat or they have something that has meat in it, like maybe ingredients spill over or something, can actually get kind of sick from eating that food because from the way that I remember it, the way that I understand it, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but since you haven't had to make the enzymes to break down the food, specifically meat-based food, then you don't have those anymore, so you can have stomach aches and you can be in a really uncomfortable position. But even without all of that, that's still pretty messed up to trick someone into eating something that they are either medically not supposed to have or ideologically. So let me know what you guys think, jerk or not a jerk, for going to the police over this chicken nugget prank. Am I the jerk for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex, despite her having cancer as a teenager. I'm a 25-year-old female, my stepsister is a 23-year-old female, and my father married my stepsister's mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives and are a family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She's since made a full recovery. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurriculars so I could get a job. The money went toward her medical bills, and so I could drive her to her appointments. I didn't go to dances and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly, the exception being having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that, but was swiftly punished. And I think having one emotional breakdown was pretty chill given the circumstances. Anyhow, I go to college and I meet my ex, Ben. This was when I was a junior. We fall in love. Blah, blah, blah. He and I move in together when we graduate. So we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious until July when I walked into my bedroom and saw him boinking my sister. I broke it off. Tears were shed. He moved out, etc. My sister apologized at first, but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmo'd me asking me for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house telling me how disappointed in me they are for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this, in part because I've seen her socialize just fine since we spent a good chunk of the time she was sick together. That would also mean that I should have bad social skills as well by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter and they should understand my point of view, but they are adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. For the record, I am not jealous of her. I'm not upset that Ben picked her over me. I'm sad about the end of the relationship and I do feel betrayed, but Lord knows I don't want to be with a cheater. What I'm upset about is the fact that my sister chose Ben over me, that she slept with Ben knowing that he and I were in a long-term committed relationship and continues to be with him knowing how much it hurts me. Now, no one in my immediate family is talking to me and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm a jerk and a selfish bee. Fast forwarding through time, during the update, she says, it turns out my sister was not only in a relationship with Ben, but 4 months pregnant, which means she and Ben were sleeping together for longer than I had even guessed. Apparently, my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience of their first grandchild. That's right. I'm less important than my stepmom posting ultrasounds to Facebook. This is where we're at. So, am I the jerk for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager? What a horrible excuse. Having cancer is awful, don't get me wrong, but the parents and the stepsister are all saying that because she has bad social skills that she has to cannibalize her own family. I mean, does the family not know that this guy Ben was cheating on their daughter with their other daughter? Are they missing that part of the story? Because it's hard to imagine any parents being like, oh yeah, this guy's good, we vouch for him. But maybe it's because they already knew that the stepsister was pregnant and they just want a grandchild that bad that they don't care. They say, he's a cheater, he's whatever, who cares? He's giving us a baby. And maybe they never expected the stepsister to ever have a baby because of her so-called bad social skills, which seems like such a terrible excuse. But let me know what you guys would do if this was you in this situation, and jerk or not a jerk.